how is everybody today? I hope everybody is having a nice transition to 2026 so far. You know, we are almost into February, so, you know, I just realized I haven't had a nice chance to talk to you guys because it's been a little bit crazy. So, I just want to point that out. But I found myself with a few minutes of alone time, something that's very rare and I don't get very often. So, I thought now would be a good time to chat with you guys for a little minute or two. I'm ultimately going to be working for now on this little 30 by 45 canvas that I have had for probably 2 years or more. I think I showed it in an unboxing. Feels like forever ago, but not too terribly long ago. Couple years. And I've been wanting to do it ever since then. And since I finished my pink and black event early, I wanted to show you guys. She's supposed to look like that. So, yeah. It's a lady. She's got that cool moon behind her with the eye in it. And she's got a dragon she's holding. It's all good. So, I thought, you know, I have a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and just work on it. You know, and then I'm going to start my Bejeweled Peacocks canvas that I showed you guys last time, starting on Sunday, which is the 1st of February. And so that will have to take precedent over this one. So I'm going to work on this one today and tomorrow and try to complete as much as I can so that I can, you know, just try to get a lot done because I love this canvas and I just want to see it finished. Really, I'd like to see it finished and framed, but I will take finished. So, and I do have a couple of things to talk to you guys about. Oh, and I forgot to show you the off-canvas projects that I did for Luna and Lichens. I showed you guys in the completions video, I showed you guys the canvases, and then I turned around and forgot to show you the off-canvas ones. Let me get those really quick so that I can show you guys. So, yeah, hang on just a minute. And I will be right back with you. In the meantime, if you have not signed up for Neal's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles event for March, what are you doing with your life? Do so immediately. I will put his email once again in the description box of the video so that you guys will be able to email him and say, heck yeah, I'd like to sign up. So, yeah, that's what we'll do. And then that way everybody can get signed up. Also, if you want to be in Walk Like an Egyptian in April, do sign up. I do not have a whole lot of people on there. So, yeah, let me know for certain. I know I had a few people who were thinking about it that were either trying to find a canvas or weren't sure because they had life stuff coming up that month. So, do let me know. Again, that's Walk Like an Egyptian from April 1st to the 30th. So, you have until March 25th to sign up, but, you know, avoid the rush and, yeah, just get signed up, guys. Okay, so before I start that, let me finish business from the last time. Let me show you the off canvas. Now, these are not an actual set. I actually got all of these separately, but I really enjoyed them, doing them as a set because it was, you know, the event. These have actually already been sealed and everything. So yeah. So this is the first one. This one was it was so much fun to do. I loved how these came out because when I first looked at the jewels for this, of course we all like the big jewels, right? The special ones. But when I saw that it was orange with the blue, I thought, oh, gross. I was like, this is not going to be a color scheme that I'm going to enjoy. But, oh, I'm happy to report that I was totally wrong. I loved it. It was so much fun. And the eyes are actually painted on, except the outline was jewels, but the eyes are painted on. But I added some sparkles with my glitter pen. So, yeah, because it just looked like it needed it. And they all came, you know, with their hanging chain. So, and these are nice because they're one-sided, but the other side, you know, when you take the plastic off, you do, you know, you can see through it. So yeah, they look really pretty in a window or on a wall or wherever you want to put them. So that was the first one. In no particular order. I mean, they're all, you know, in their own order. Anyway, and this was the next one. And it kind of made me laugh because this one looked like a tiger. It had tiger colors. But you could see the wolf in there. It's just kind of funny that it was charted the way it was charted. It looks like he has a mustache to go with his whiskers, but anyway. Yeah, I liked this one. Partly because it wasn't exactly symmetrical. I mean, like, things are put in different places down here. This had a little, you know, poof of fur by his ear. This side, not as much. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, we have to make it exactly even. Well, no, you didn't have to, because clearly you didn't. So, you know, this one had like 3 or 4 jewels where it had only 1 or 2 on this side. So, I mean, yeah, there were some differences in this one, but I liked that it came out kind of cool. But it does have that tiger stripe effect, especially here where his nose is. But, yeah, it was fun. These went together really quickly too, which was nice because, you know, I was working on that Moonlight canvas, which was huge for the event. So when I needed a break from that, it was nice to just pick one of these up and, you know, I could finish it in a couple of hours and go on to the next one, and, you know, life was fine. So it was nice. And of course they were right on the theme because we put lichens in with our Luna, which was nice. So it gave me an excuse to do these and take them out of my stash, which has been sitting here for quite a while. I mean, this is, again, these are probably 20 months old, 22 months that I've had them in my stash. So almost a couple of years. Here's the next one. This one had earth tone colors except for the outlined large jewels and the necklace on them. So, but I liked this one because he's supposed to be like in a headdress, so that was cool. And I liked the feathers being the earth tone. I liked the way that the wolf was charted. It was kind of interesting because, again, this one is not 100% symmetrical. But, you know, there's an extra line up here of jewels that's not in this ear. There's not the same number of stripes on one side versus the other, you know, but it just, I don't know, it just worked. I really liked it. It looked very, you know, Native American in here. So I always appreciate that because, you know, that's my people. So, but yeah, they're all sealed and they can all be, you know, this number, and it doesn't hurt. So yeah, and these I do use the Liquitex sealer instead of the Minwax. You can use the Minwax. There's no problem with it, except sometimes in some kits, and I don't know exactly the reason, I'm gonna assume it's the quality of the larger stones that they put in here. Some of these specialty drills, when you use the Minwax, get foggy. So, and then some don't. So how do you tell? You can't till after you do it, and then you get annoyed. What I would do if I was going to use Minwax on here, these little stones are fine. I've never had a problem with that. But what I would do is I would put Minwax on the whole thing, and then I would take a wet wipe and I would wipe off the large jewels. Okay, all of the big specialty drills I would take a wet cloth to and just kind of wipe it off on the top. It's fine to leave it around the bottom because you're trying to seal it, but I wouldn't let it dry on top. Now this dried on top, fine. The Liquitex, I never have a problem with that, and have not so far. I don't use the Liquitex on canvases because I just haven't found, it didn't hurt them, but it doesn't how do I say this? The diamonds don't tend to stick as well being sealed with the Liquitex on a canvas as I have had with the Minwax polyacrylic. So, I mean, that's my experience. Yours may be totally different, and that's great. I just wanted to tell you, if you haven't done this before, what I have run up against. But so I use the Liquitex for acrylic projects, and then I use the Minwax for canvases, and it works fine. So, this one, because I wanted just to get them sealed and get them out of the way. So, and you know, when you use these rhinestones, because there's that silver backing on them, they tend to be the ones that want to come out versus the regular drills. So, you know, I'm always happy with how the Liquitex works. And I mean, everything is really on here. Like, you'd have to take a chisel and hope for the best if you were trying to get them off now. So, which I love. I mean, I could gift these and, you know, be happy and content that they are not going to fall apart on people. Same thing with coasters. I like the Liquitex on coasters. I usually do, I'll just tell you, I usually do the Minwax and then the Liquitex on coasters. I generally use both because they're going to get wet. And people are going to use them under their drinks. And so it's the thing. So I find that I haven't had any problem, you know, and I ask periodically people that I gift them to, hey, have you had any problem with it? So far, nobody has. So I'm just going to keep up with that because it seems to, you know, work out. So anyway, this was the third one in the set. Let me just move these back a little bit. And then last but not least, and this one was, oh, so pretty. Look at this one, you guys. Isn't this gorgeous? Oh, so pretty. I love this light amber colored particular gemstone in here. Whether you call them diamonds, rhinestones, whatever you call them. The sparkly little jewels, we all know what we're talking about. Loved this light brown one. It's just so pretty. Oh, so pretty. I kept the rest of these because I don't get this color that often, and it was just so pretty. And then the little white, you know, flower petal, you know, teardrop shape, but these, you know, they make little flowers. I loved that, and all the colors. There's 2 or 3 different reds for the roses, and then these particular, these are what I call a middle size. So between, you know, these larger ones and these regular size are these middle size gems. I love these because let me tell you what, these are perfect for Rudolph's nose when I'm doing cards. Love it. Love it. So yes, so this was a lot of fun. And again, I used some sparkle in his eyes so that it would be, you know, looks like he follows you when you look at it. But yeah, this one was really fun. Really fun. It's so pretty. So, and it's red and it's got green stems. So, I mean, it was just striking to look at. So yeah, that was the 4th one. So I completed all of these for Luna and Lichens. So, I haven't decided if I'm going to, I think I'm going to put them in my collection because these can be, you know, they'll be fine on the wall with my Native American collection. So I'll probably hang them up, but, I just wanted to make sure I had all of them sealed and ready to go. So I did. So when I sealed these with the Liquitex, I sealed them all and I put them individually on pieces of parchment paper and just set them aside and laid them flat to dry. You don't want to hang them up when they're drying because you're going to get some running, and that doesn't benefit anybody because then the sealant, when it dries, you'll see the drip. So that, yeah, don't do that. Lay them flat to dry and then you're ready to go. So yeah, so there they are, guys. Let me know in the comments, which one do you like the best? Which one of all these 4 suits your purposes the most? And if you had a good idea on how I should display them, let me know, because that's usually my hardest time is, what do I want these to look like? You know, how am I going to display them? Am I going to go in a line? Am I going to go up and down? Am I going to go, you know, how am I going to do it? So yeah, so those were really fun. So that was the lichen part of my Luna and Lichen event for myself anyway. So yeah, that was that. Okay, now I think we can whip along, chat along, etc. I'm halfway finished with this, so I'm hoping to make some headway so I can get some things accomplished before Sunday when I have to start the next canvas. So, how is everyone doing today? I want to know how you guys are doing. I mean, I already know how I'm doing. How are you guys doing? Oh, also, I will tell you that you might hear some, you know, crashes, bangs, whatever. We do have some people from the roofing company. Yay! Roof is finally getting some attention. Up on top of the roof, and they are trying to get the debris out and everything so that they can actually start. Apparently they submitted additional request for payment for some things they've already found, even preliminarily, that they did not include in their original estimate. And so, and of course, the person that they need to talk to at HSA is out every other Friday on furlough. So they're not going to get that answer till Monday. So anyway, I did email her though, and I said, hey, could you please, as soon as you get back, you know, say the word on this so that they can continue. But yeah, they've been out here for 3 days. They disappeared twice. Today was the first day that they're, I guess, technically they're back. But oh, you guys, the frustration level, I can't even tell you. I was so angry because the first day they were supposed to be out here, they didn't come at all. The second day they came out here, they got here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were gone by 3:30. So I don't know if that was the day that they discovered, you know, some of the issues that they're trying to get authorized now, or when exactly they did that. But I was like, guys, really? Really? Could we not? We need to get this thing moving. But anyway. And then they were supposed to be here yesterday. They didn't come yesterday. But they came today. So it's the little things. I guess I'll take it. Because, wow, you guys. So I'm going to apologize in advance if you hear something crashing and loud. That's because they're working on it. Okay, so yeah, so the roof is off to a slow but fairly steady start. So I'm going to be happy with that and hope it continues. And then what else is happening? Let's see. Well, what else is happening? Neal is continuing on with his infusion therapy that he goes every 2 weeks. And it takes like an hour and a half because it's like the medication has to go in at like it takes like an hour and 20 minutes, and then they have to do a flush for the IV before you can go, and that's another 10 minutes. So about an hour and a half, which, you know, for me is okay because it gives me a chance to craft. I either take a diamond painting with me, or I take my paper trimmer and some paper to cut, or yeah, I make use of my time there because I can't be anywhere else. So I don't have to feel bad because I'm not doing housework. I can literally just focus on crafting while I'm there. So put this up so you guys can kind of see a little bit. So we are doing that. We're going every 2 weeks like clockwork. After his next appointment, he has to go to have an MRI. You have to do that every, I want to say 7 or 8 infusions. He has to go and make sure that there are no brain bleeds, because that is a side effect, is it can cause bleeding of, you know, brain bleeds, in which case I don't know if they just stop it altogether or try something else. I don't know. So far, knocking on wood, he's been very fortunate. There haven't been any bleeds. So we're continuing on. The therapy takes 1.5 years. You have to go for this every 2 weeks for like 18 months. And so he has about 12 or 13 months left to go. So, and the idea is the medication removes the plaque in the arteries and veins that are in his brain, thus arresting his dementia, hopefully. I mean, there's no cure for dementia, but we're trying to slow it down so that it doesn't take what would have been a natural course, you know, 50 years ago. And he just, you know, he wouldn't have had any time, hardly at all, once it was determined that he had it. So we're hopeful that it's going to work. And I was thinking about it the other day. I don't really know how to gauge whether or not it's working, because I don't know where he would have been if we hadn't done it. Sometimes I see him, you know, suddenly being able to access memories he couldn't really access before. So I think that's potentially a good thing. But then sometimes I feel like, wow, something he remembered yesterday is gone today. And if you've ever lived with somebody or cared for somebody that has dementia, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's one of the worst parts about this damn disease. I hate this disease, and I will not even make bones about it. I hate it. I feel like, whose rotten joke was that? You know, like, you get to a point in your life where the one thing that you have the most of is memories, and then this disease comes along and takes them from you. You know what? F off. Really and truly, it pisses me off. So, anyway, that takes up a good, chunk of our life, every couple weeks. Because the other thing that happens, oh my God, is he has trouble. The only real side effect he has is he has trouble regulating his body temperature for the first 12 hours after he has the infusion and we get home. And he's just freezing and can't get warm. And I keep trying to tell him, you cannot use the thermostat to regulate. If you're feeling cold, you're going to have to bundle up, because Jared and I are trying to tell you it's not cold in here. Okay, that's a reaction that you're having. But that's, his normal go-to is cold, turn up the heat. Yeah, no. So I'm having to put a sign on the thermostat that says, don't touch me if it's infusion day, because he forgets, right? So, but I do have, he has an electric blanket. He's got plenty of warm clothes. It's just, we don't get very icy cold days because, it's California. We don't get that very often. So, yeah, he's unaccustomed to having to wear his thermal clothes unless, it's really bitter cold out here, which happens very rarely. So it's just, it's, something I know is a thing now, because we've had so many times that I recognize the signs. So, but I acknowledge that he gets really, really cold. His teeth chatter, so I know he's really cold. And then, I just go get his warm, snuggly sweatshirt and his electric blanket. I'm going to get him an electric lap blanket so he can be in here if he wants to diamond paint. And, put it across his lap or put it behind his shoulders so that he's snuggly. So that's another thing I want to get him for Valentine's Day. I already got him, don't tell him, you guys, I got him a t-shirt that is a military t-shirt that I think he's gonna really like. I hope it gets here before I need it to get here. So that should be in a route, so we'll see. But yeah, so I got that for him for Valentine's Day for a love gift. And then I want to get him that little warm lap blanket, because otherwise he has me in here in a tank top and I'm sweltering because, hello, I'm always too warm anyway. Yeah, don't need the help. I'd rather have the air conditioner on, right? All the time, because, yeah, don't do heat well. So, we have to have thermostat wars, but really, if that's the worst that he has for a side effect, I'm thankful for that, because some of the side effects are terrible. So, not just the brain bleeds, but certain cancers, and you could have a stroke, just walking along, you'd have a stroke. Those kind of things are scary, which is why they monitor the blood vessels so closely, because they want to make sure that if that's starting to be an issue, that they catch it and then they decide what to do instead, because, yeah, you wouldn't want to continue with something that might cause a bleed or a clot or a bleed. No. So, yeah. So I always breathe a sigh of relief when we're finally home. And then, because then what happens about 12 hours later is he's sweating bullets. He cannot cool off. It's just how his body processes that. So that medication. So, and every time I have to remind him, it's the infusion medicine, you know, like it's not that you're experiencing something unusual or weird or we've never seen. It's, you know, he just doesn't always remember that that's how he reacts to it. And then I have to go back through the story. So that's happening. So we're getting underway. I did finally reserve the venue for Jared's 30th birthday party. That's coming up on the 1st of March. His birthday is the 3rd, but the 1st is the Sunday before his birthday. And both of his brothers finally got their tickets. So yay! Gonna have a little mini family reunion. So I get to see my grandbabies and my babies, and I'm very happy about all of that. Since we missed having the holidays together, it's gonna be great fun. And getting to celebrate Jared and having his brothers here and his nephews and his niece. I think he's going to really enjoy that. So he's been such a trooper. All these changes that have gone on, all the stress in the house with the roof and all the whole thing. And, you know, I had to file for conservatorship. So, because he wasn't about to let me take over the money all the way, but I have to. So that's the thing. He's very angry about it. So, yeah, we're not talking about it a lot because, you know, he doesn't agree with it, but I don't know anybody that agrees with being conserved. I mean, who would agree that, yeah, you can take some of my rights away and give them to somebody else? That'd be fine. Yeah, no, people don't do that. So, I'm hoping when he gets his public defender, I have to go without an attorney because I can't afford one. So, I'm going in pro per, but whenever somebody is trying to get conservatorship over someone else, the person who would be the conservatee, which in this case would be Neal, automatically gets a public defender because they want to make sure that, you know, everything's on the up and up and that their feelings about everything are being considered. And, you know, is this really necessary or is somebody trying to do something wrong? You know, all of that stuff, which is very annoying to those of us that are legitimately trying to do what has to be done, not because we want to. And believe me when I tell you, I really don't want to. But there really isn't any choice. He cannot handle remembering and going through the motions of paying our bills anymore. And it's getting us into problems. So I need to take them over. And at first, you know, I asked him, please be cooperative so we can just get it done. And at first he said he would, and then that didn't manifest. And, you know, he's just adamantly determined that, nope. I said, please just have your deposits put, you know, in our mutual account, which we honestly, guys, we never had a joint bank account. Now, we've been married, March will be 23 years, but we've never had a joint account because when we first got married, well, when we first moved in together even, he was going through the motions still of his divorce. I mean, it had been started and on the books and everything, but it hadn't, you know, been adjudicated yet. So that was happening. And I was still on the tail end of my custody battle with my ex, which lasted 6, S-I-X, years with my ex. So, you know, and you're constantly in both of those situations, you're constantly having to fill out income and expense reports, and you have to put down, you know, what your expenses are and how much. So we agreed on, you know, who was going to be paying what bills. And then I would just give him the money from my account to pay the bill. And then he would just pay it. So, but we knew between us, we knew who was paying what. So there was no question about it. And if anything happened, and, you know, sometimes things happen, like somebody needed something, a school expense would come up, and I would be like, okay, I'm going to be like $25 short. I'll have to catch you in the next month. And he'd go, yeah, I'm fine, no problem. And then sometimes he, you know, would not realize what week we were in, right? And he'd forget to pay something, and the lights would go out, and he'd say, oh, I'm sorry, let me take care of that right now. Okay, yes, thank you. So there were moments that we had to correct, but basically it worked for us because I had minor children still. His kids were already grown and with kids of their own, living on their own. And so we didn't always agree on the priority of the money that we did bring in. So I thought, okay, well, the best way I can think of to handle that is to keep separate accounts, and literally keep separate accounts, and then contribute toward, you know, the bills as necessary, right? So we did that, and it worked fine for us for, you know, a long time. I won't say he necessarily liked it, but here's the reality of it. In his first marriage, he paid the bills and did the budgeting. And in my first marriage, I paid the bills and did the budgeting. So it was hard for me to give that up. But at the same time, it was kind of a relief, because budgeting sucks. I mean, really, when you got to figure out what you're gonna pay, where you're gonna stretch the money, who's gonna get what that they need first, you know, it sucks. It's just a bummer all the time. And so I was fine not having to worry about that. I kept my own budget and what I needed to do, and he kept his own budget, what he needed to do, and we split the costs of all living in the same house. So, you know, guys, it really literally worked for a very long time. However, and then in 2022, when we had the plumbing disaster and we were living in a hotel, the money to pay the contractors came from our mortgage company in both our names, because both of our names are on the house. Well, neither one of our banks by that time wanted to cash them without the other person being on the account, even though we were both standing there. So we're like, ugh, okay. So we went ahead and we opened a joint checking account. But see, that's only been, you know, 4 years ago now. So when I tell you it's a new thing, it's a new thing. But I thought the way to handle it, since he was, you know, having memory lapses and he was getting us into some financial difficulties because he didn't remember to pay the bill, and he's been falling for scams, which has been a whole problem too. And it doesn't matter how much I tell him, don't do that unless we talk about it first, because a lot of these things are scams. I mean, he's the typical senior citizen that gets caught up by them. But, you know, telling him that and him doing it are not the same thing. So, and part of that's just he's feeling very frustrated with his lack of control of everything that's going on around him. And I understand that. And I tried to do it as easy as I could. But the reality is, at this point, you know, he has selected to be uncooperative. So I have to be the one in control of our finances. So that's coming up. We go the first week of April. So the court investigator is coming out. Interestingly enough, it's the same court investigator that comes out every other year. Because when you have a conservatorship over somebody, you have to go to court every 2 years to make sure, you know, everything is going fine. If there's anything that comes up or anybody else comes into the picture, you know, you have to go and talk about it, justify it, you know, la-di-da-di. So it's the same person who's come out the last 6 years. So 3 times she's been out for Jared. And yet when she called me, she couldn't place the name. She didn't remember who it was, but it sounded familiar. So she was like talking to me and, you know, hi, this is my name. I'm coming from the court. I'm like, I know it's you. Hi. I said, when you come out here, you'll remember, I'm sure, that you come out here for Jared every other year. She goes, oh, okay. I wondered why your name sounded familiar. But my God, you guys, she's known us for 6 years and she didn't recognize the name. Okay. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with, you know, being overwhelmed with how many cases I'm sure she has. But for God's sake, really? So she's coming out next Thursday because they have to, the court investigator is part of it. They have to come out and they have to write a report and let the judge know their feelings on what they think should happen. So not looking forward to that conversation because, you know, she did confirm. She goes, so I just want to confirm that Mr. Porter is not in favor of the conservatorship. I said, he sure isn't. unfortunately, we have no alternative at this point. So, but yes, that's correct. She's like, oh, okay, well, I will make sure I read up on everything and be well versed when I see you. Okay, that I appreciated. I said, thank you, really, very much. I appreciate that, because that will save us, you know, a little bit of time when you come out here. I know we're going to have to discuss some things, but, you know, having the background information. And I said, there are exhibits attached to the paperwork as proof of what's been going on. So, yes, please do give them a scan so we have, you know, some point of reference. She's like, oh, I absolutely will. And then she, you know, said, have a good weekend. I'll see you next week. Okay, great, perfect. But, you know, it's a pain in the backside because they have to come out. They have to look at every room in the house to make sure that they're living appropriately and they have running water and usable bathroom and a bed that they can sleep in. So, yeah, it's just, you know, it's so, you know, that I'm not hiding, I don't know, an arsenal of poison under the bed or, yeah, whatever it is. It's just so frustrating because it just takes so much time and it's just ridiculous. But for us, it's ridiculous. But I understand that there are some situations where, you know, conservatees are potentially in danger from the people that are supposed to be caring for them. And we see it in the news periodically. And that's just the ones that are reported. So I understand it and I don't bear them any ill will. I just hate the process. It's just a pain. And it's a pain, too, to have to go to court because I don't like to do something like this. Some of you will understand. Some of you are young in your relationships and don't understand that there's going to come a time, if you're lucky enough to live long enough, and so is the person that you love, where one of you is going to have to do this for the other one. And it's not fun. Now, can you avoid this? You can. You absolutely can. And my advice to you is, I don't care how young you are, do your estate planning information. Select somebody now to make those decisions for you and put it in writing and get it notarized. And then you don't have to try to go to conservatorship. I just really thought I was going to have 10 more years before this was going to be a thing. And turns out I didn't. So you never know. Now, you know, you might get in a car accident and have a traumatic brain injury and it's going to be hitting you right away. There will be no lead in. It's just all of a sudden going to be there. So I know it's not fun and it's kind of terrible, but have these conversations with your loved ones, please. Let them know what your wishes are. Fill out the paperwork now so whoever it is that's going to make these decisions, if you can't speak for yourself, is already documented someplace, because it will make everybody's life so much easier. So much easier. So that's my advice and my sermon for today. But yeah, that's coming up next week. So I'm doing that. And then Jared decided he wanted an Avengers theme for his birthday. So I'm in process of getting all of that together also. You know, trying to figure out, okay, well, should we have party favors? And I think we probably should, because 30 is a big deal. And okay, what's that going to look like? And how many people are going to be able to make it? I think we invited 42 people. I know that probably half a dozen of them are not going to make it, so that's okay. And then I added, I think, 2. So I'm going to say around 35 to 40, I hope. So got the venue, got the invitations out. Now I just have to make a party out of it, is all. So that's coming along okay. I have some preliminary thoughts. So yeah, thinking about it. What else is going on? I think Neal's going to go to the grocery store tomorrow. Today he had to go to Costco to pick up medication because it was the last day to get it, which is a bummer. We wanted to get it earlier because we were trying to participate in the blackout that's happening today. But you know, you got to get your meds when you got to get your meds. But we won't do the heavy duty shopping until later over the weekend. But that's also on the agenda somewhere, somewhere soon. So yeah, I mean, everything's kind of moving along. I am once again having a huge issue with PayPal. So that's frustrating. Apparently my bank and PayPal's bank won't speak to each other. So I was gifted some money, kind of a late birthday, Christmas kind of gift, stuck in PayPal that I can't put in my account. So I'm going to have to do something else with it. And I just find it very annoying because why is it everybody else can seem to figure it out and PayPal is just a thing? I mean, I have Apple Pay and I never have a problem with Apple Pay, ever. So I don't know why PayPal is just the way it is. But anyway, it is. So I'm probably going to get rid of it at some point. I mean, right now I'm keeping it open because not only because I have gifted money trapped in there, but also because sometimes if I have to make a payment on something and I want to not give them all of my information, if they take PayPal, then I don't have to give them that information. So I like that aspect of it. I just wish PayPal could get their act together. So, I mean, I did everything. I changed my account and everything. I closed one, I opened another. I have tried everything to resolve it and I just can't seem to. And now my bank is telling me, well, you know, give them a call and ask them for the bank account number and the routing number that they have attached to your account, and then try it from our end. So you're kind of doing it through the back door, but, you know, see if that works. Otherwise, we're going to have to do something different. I'm just like going, really, guys? I just want to be able to, you know, send and receive and pay a couple bills. That's just all I'm trying to do. So anyway, that's just another thing that's been on my mind because it's such a pain, but that's going on. So weird to hear people walking on my roof, you guys, after so long, and I keep holding my breath trying to make sure that I send the vibes to, please don't fall through the ceiling. Please don't fall through the ceiling, because it's really, you know, it's really bad up there, and they're not exactly walking delicately, which I don't understand. I wish they would, but they're not. So that's all happening too. My sweet little Finian, he's, I think I told you guys earlier that he's got, you know, some heart disease going on, and it wasn't really showing when it was first diagnosed, but it's showing more now, where, you know, when he goes on outings, which he still loves, I mean, that's still his favorite thing to do. And so I took him on, I think it was Monday, and he went to sleep. Ever since, he's been asleep. And I mean, yes, he's just sleeping. He's not, nothing has happened. He's asleep. He's breathing fine and everything. But, you know, normal outings wear him out now. So I'm going to have to start only doing shorter ones with him, or not taking him, which I don't want to do because that's his favorite thing. And, you know, don't know how much longer we'll have to do it. So, but, I also, and see, when he goes to sleep, it wouldn't be so bad, except I can't give him his medication for his heart disease when he's sleeping. So yeah, it's just not what I was hoping we'd have a little more time, but it is what it is. I mean, he's turning 11 years old on in March, so yeah, I'm glad that I've had him this long, but yeah, it's kind of, Griffin. It's kind of devastating to know that, you know, it's coming. Now, I know some of you are wondering, well, how long do they live? So here we go. They should live 15 to 20 years. However, so much of that is dependent on that first year of life. If you screw up in their first year of life, I mean, you have cut years off of their life. And because I take in rescues, I know that I'm likely to never get that kind of time with them. But you know, you have to, these animals require certain things, like they need calcium supplements. They need ultraviolet light. They cannot break down their food appropriately without it, or absorb the nutrients and minerals and stuff from it. So now in the wild, what do? Well, they bask. They bask on a rock or on the ground in the sun for hours. And that's how they process it when they're in the wild. And the thing is, when we take them into the pet trade, we have people who are taking these beautiful animals thinking they're a garden lizard and inadvertently killing them, maiming them, not feeding what they need, not providing what they need, and you're limiting their lifespan considerably. Pet stores will tell you that, oh yeah, they'll live about 10 to 12 years. Yeah, because when you get them in a pet store, that's true. It's really true. Because again, they do the bare minimum for them because they're trying to sell them. That's the goal. So they, they do not give them what they need. Griffin, it's the roofers, honey. Hey, it's the roofers. It's all right. Griffin is not at all pleased that there are people walking on the roof with big tools and things. So, and he can see from his spot on the table, he can see out the window. So it's a whole thing. So sorry, guys. Anyway, so because they don't get what they need, they don't live as long. So unfortunately, they tend to expire earlier. But I've had Vinny in 10 out of the 11 years of his life, and we have had such fun together. He's absolutely my favorite. Don't tell the others that, but he is. So I'm just going to enjoy whatever time I have left with him, knowing that he was a once-in-a-lifetime dragon. And then one of these times, we're going to go on a wild adventure and have fun, and he's going to go to sleep and he will not get up. And that is going to be a devastating day. Any of you that are pet owners, and I know most of you are, because I find that interesting. Most diamond painters do have pets. Some have multiple types of pets, like, I have dogs and dragons, Some people have cats and birds. Some people have, horses and whatever. So yeah, I understand. So you know what I'm talking about. We all hate that day, right, when it comes around. But we all do it because we enjoy them so much and they add so much to our lives, before that day comes. So, but it sucks to have to watch, you know what I mean? So when he's awake, I give him his meds and I follow through on the regimen. And when he's asleep, I just let him sleep peacefully, because if he needs the rest, then he should take the rest. I just feel bad I can't give him his diuretic so I can, keep the fluid off of his little heart. But I think it would be cruel to force him awake to pour that down him and then, interrupt his sleep. That doesn't sound like the way to handle it, so I'm not going to. But yeah, that's happening too. So yeah, so looking forward to seeing my kids, and celebrating Jared's birthday. Getting the court issue with Neal out of the way, because, I mean, if they don't grant the conservatorship, they're going to have to tell me what to do, because as a married woman in this state, I don't think I have much choices besides, you know, conservatorship or divorce, you know, to not be part of the financial issue that is being created because of his memory problems and his cognition impairment that is going to continue and just get worse from here. So, and you know, he needs help. I mean, that's kind of the whole point, is that, you know, I wasn't even considering divorce, but I just don't know what else to do. So I'm hoping that if that's the way it's leaning, I'm going to ask the judge, okay, well then what can I do? Because I need to know that information. And it will not be enough for them to go, now, Mr. Porter, are you willing to cooperate? No, that's not how this works. If he could have done that, I wouldn't be here. So we'll see. It's bound to be a gigantic pain. I'm not expecting it to be any level of fun, but yeah, has to be. So wish me luck on that one. Other than that, I mean, you know, things are going along. I'm embarrassed to admit that we have not gotten our Christmas tree down because I can't do it by myself. I need help, and when I don't get help, then things don't get done. So, going to try to enlist some help over the weekend, or like on Monday or Tuesday of next week, and see if I can get someone else to help that can tote the boxes in and out of the shed and, you know, help me get the tree down. Since we're approaching February, I would really like to be done with that, and then get that out of the way. And especially since we're going to have people at the house, you know, it's one less thing that I need to have around. So anyway, that's happening. What else is going on with you guys? Anybody have plans? You have Valentine's Day plans? You have birthdays coming up? What are you doing? How's your 2026 going so far? That's the question. Because, you know, it's hard to believe that we're in 2026, but we are. And, you know, the world is so awful right now that, and it's our fault as a country. So, you know, it's hard to enjoy your everyday stuff, because every day there's a new bunch of BS that has to be dealt with. So, yeah. So how's your year started out? Do you have a support system? Because I think it's important that you have a support system. Everybody needs support from time to time, right? So you can get in your bubble with your people and, you know, remember what good times feel like, okay? And don't worry, this too shall pass. We're all going to come out the other end one way or another. Anyway, guys, I know I've been talking your ear off for quite a while. Let me just see how much time. Oh, almost an hour, 53 minutes. Okay, guys, so remember, again, don't forget to sign up for Neal's event for March, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, if you're interested. And he will be getting on here in the next few days, I hope, and letting you know who's actually signed up and, you know, what's going on. So if you don't hear your name and you think you signed up, be sure that you re-email him and let him know. I'm trying to assist him, but, you know, I can only do just so much, right? Shh, Griffin, enough, buddy. Hey, enough, Buttercup. So, that's happening. And then let me know if you want to be in Walk Like an Egyptian, which is coming up too. I'm trying to think of some fun things to do for that. Also, I'm going to be doing a new series on the channel where I'm going to be talking about things to do with your spare drills. So hopefully that will work out. if you have some content that you would like to see on here that you're not seeing somewhere, or you have a recommendation or a suggestion, please let me know, guys. I mean, this is your channel as much as it is mine. I don't want to lull you into sleep. I want to keep your interest peaked. So let me know if there's something that you would like to see, and I will do my level best to get that going. Okay, Dragonites, remember to keep the people that you love around you. Make sure if they're far away that you call them, remind them that you love them. Think happy thoughts, do some self-care, because it's going to take all of us taking a break once in a while just to get through. So hang in there though. Better times are coming. All right, guys, don't forget, always be a dragon. Spread your wings. Protect those you love. Have fiery passion. Stay strong, slay your fears, and always fly high, rise up, and soar. All right, Dragonites, have a great weekend, and I am going to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.